What's going on, everybody? I'm Cade Morehouse with Cade Side Press. Today I'm joined by a 6-0 professional fighter coming off a first round submission victory at Bellator 300, Jena Bishop. Jena, how's it going?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you feeling after such a huge victory?
I feel good. Especially now because I was super sick last week. I feel like that's always part of it. You cut weight, you train your butt off, and then maybe like get a little bit of it catches up to you. Your body's immune system can't handle it. But now I'm feeling good, still really excited and happy about that win.
I know you were super eager to get back into the cage. You wanted to get in there sooner, but do you think it was all part of God's timing to put you at home in San Diego on such a huge card? And also, you got the first round finish. So obviously, uh, whatever you were doing in the gym is working.
Yeah, I think it worked out really well, even though, I definitely wanted to compete sooner, but I would have done both. But no, I think it all worked out perfectly, gave me everything kind of came into place at the right time. So getting to fight in San Diego where I live now is kind of super ideal weight thing to happen. So I'm pumped that I got to do that.
How was the overall fight experience in San Diego? Just being there at home, you had Kat Zingano there, you had all your friends there. I saw Angela Hill and Jessica there. How was it just being at home and doing fight week in front of all your friends and family?
It was cool because, it's really relaxed. Just it felt like almost like I was talking with one of my coaches, like it's just like, oh, I'm just going into sparring today. It's like a little bit of pressure off and being able to be at home, sleep in my own bed, have my dogs there, have like extra training partner, like all my training partners there. Cause it's like, you travel, I get to take my coaches. I don't get to travel with like everyone, but like Angela Hill, she's one of my like primary training partners, and she was able to come help me do some of my shakeouts and stuff, and then offered up her house because she's got like a whole, it's all outfitted, like her garage with like mats and everything. And so I got to do my weight cut there, which was just like super chill and a fun time. We always said it's like, she always called it like a weight cut party, and have like a lot of people around me to like distract me from the misery of cutting weight. So it's like it was fun, it was cool.
I was gonna ask you later on, but since we're on that subject, Angela Hill, Jessica, Kat Zingano, what do those ladies mean to you? I know that they've all played a pretty decent role in your career, of any combat sports, but MMA specifically as well. What do they mean to you, and what is it like to have them around you all the time?
It's awesome. They are some just outside of fighting, just amazing women. Like it's just been great. So Kat is really responsible for like kind of like getting me into MMA because like I was helping her get ready so for stuff, and then going with her to her very first Bellator fight, and it just really like kind of finally pushed me over the edge of wanting to do it, like something I'd want to do. And then Angie just like after that, like we just became kind of, she's been a perfect training partner. We both are very similar in the way that we like to train, like always just training, always training and then training hard too. So she's been somebody that's like, you know, we complement each other well because I come from the grappling background, she comes from the striking background, so we can kind of like help each other on the things that we're to build up our weaknesses, and it's a good compliment. And she like being close enough in size that like it's a good training partner. And I have just like other girls like even Alima, like we trained together for this camp, so it's just nice to have a lot of really like strong women that know the business, because that's something too. It's just like I'm getting into MMA, like how do I even get started, and having their expertise and guidance throughout this whole thing of like, how do I get a manager? How do I get these fights? Like, Kat introduced me to her manager, Ed, who runs the LFA. They signed me. And so that's where I kind of got my start. So it's been like a perfect like mesh of like worlds.
Well, speaking of Kat Zingano and Ali Malay, you know, things went perfectly for you at Bellator 300, but it didn't go so perfectly for them. Specifically for Kat, you know, who's wanted that cyborg fight for a while. You know, it's been talked about for a long time, and then, you know, it just brutally ended the way it did. You know, she seemed to handle it though like such a professional, and that's expected. She's been around a long time, but what kind of support did you give her, and how is she holding up?
Kat's doing great. You know, she's been through all of this before a million times, you know. So I think there was a lot of emotion going into this camp, to this fight. Um, it's it's something that she has wanted for a long time. So I think she was happy to finally like kind of get in there and do it. But she seems great now. Like you know, we hanging out, living life. She's
Nice.
back into mom mode, you know, she's got a kid she's got to take care of. So you can't dwell on it too long. You got to move forward and live your life.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, that she's taking it, you know, the way she is, but it's already it seemed like that by her social media, just her posts and stuff like that. Let's get into management for a second. Brian Butler, you know, that guy's one of the best minds in management for MMA. How did you find him, and what does he mean to you?
I found him from Angie. He manages Angela too. So I was kind of like had signed a deal on my own with LFA without management. And then it was hard for me to get fights. They were having trouble like getting me opponents and stuff. So Angie was like, well, maybe you should like think about getting a manager because they could help like bug all the promoters, the matchmakers, so that you can get a fight. And so she introduced me to Brian. She's like, just talk to him and see, like, you know, he might not be the right guy, but he has a really good relationship with her. So yeah, that's what I did. And we talked, and I'm like, he seems like a guy who to me seemed very genuine, and like the fact that he really cares about his fighter, like his fighters. It's like not like he's just like collecting a check, like he actually like, you know, emotionally invested in people. So, and I saw that with Angie, so that kind of like convinced me to like sign with him too.
I've actually read a little bit about your stories like online, and I've done some research about you like even before this Bellator event when I was like going through who's on the card and everything like that. And there was a lot of things I found interesting about you. Can you explain how you got into jiu-jitsu, and is it correct that it was you were 21 years old and it was Tyler that actually inspired you to get into jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, my when me and my husband were dating at the time, and he had started, so I know he was interested. He got started in jujitsu because he was like watching like the early tough seasons, like when it was like first starting, and he was like, "Ooh, that looks fun!" Like, and so originally he was like wanted to find a gym to train at to do MMA, and I was like, "Well, my cousin does jujitsu," so it was like my cousin's doing that. I sent him there to train with them. And then he did have one MMA fight, which the craziest thing about that is our MMA fights, first ones were on the exact same day, but like 10 years apart, or maybe more than 10 years apart, which is kind of crazy that we both fought like for the first time on the exact same day. And so, but he was training for a while, and then he just like, the MMA thing was cool, but like I think he only had one fight, and then fights kept falling off, so he did the jiu-jitsu thing. But he would always come practice on me. Like he would come over to my house, like my mom's there, my sisters are there. I only have sisters, and like he's doing all of his like practicing his chokes and stuff on all of us. Like, and I'm like, okay, please show me how to like at least defend myself. Like I need to know something about that. So he was showing me some stuff. I think one of the first moves he taught me was a flying armbar. So I'm like, he's a white belt teaching me, a very brand new person, how to do a flying armbar. It's like the most white belt thing ever. But so I learned how to do that, and then finally convinced me to go to a class after I was doing like conditioning classes at the gym with him, and I just like fell in love with the sport.
How, since you got into MMA, how much support has Tyler given you, and how much does he actually push you in the gym?
I mean, throughout my entire career in jiu-jitsu and in MMA, like he has been super supportive. Like everybody always is like, oh my gosh, he's like so for you. He's such a fan of yours. I was like, yeah, he's my husband. I would hope that that's how it goes. Like we support each other in everything we do. And even though it's really hard for him because he's like, I would prefer you not do this. It would be a lot like less stress on me to see you getting in there. He's like, even though I know you can handle yourself, but I think, and then seeing me do it more and more, he's like, you're built for this. So I think that like makes it even easier for him to like be super supportive. But, as far as jujitsu, for a lot of my career, he was like my number one training partner and coach. Like he was teaching me like a lot of jujitsu, like especially when we were back in Missouri, like it was like not as you didn't have the access to what I have here in San Diego as far as jujitsu goes. So he was always studying jujitsu and then we would drill and practice together. So I owe a lot of my like stuff to him. And, now like I kind of told you this, but like fight week, he's like, I have to have him there. He's like my emotional support. He's like, keeps me calm, but he also takes the brunt of me being irritable. And then when we're warming up and practices throughout the week and, it's fight week. So you're not as like nice to your people. You're ready to go. So he gets hit a little bit more than like my other training partners might.
Well, another emotional support for you are those puppies of yours, I'm assuming, because I saw them on fight week and they were adorable and it looked like you adored them too.
Oh yeah. I'm like, I don't know who's supporting who with both in that case, but my younger Shiva, he's like he goes everywhere with me and Cash is my buddy and he loves attention and affection. So uh he's always a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, they definitely were. They were very friendly. I got to ask you though, it's all up in the air right now with the whole Bellator thing. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of people's jobs are up in the air. It's kind of a sad thing because Bellator has been great to everyone, including media, people like myself, their fighters. Scott Coker has always been a man that's been known as people want to work for that guy. He's family oriented. He cares about his fighters, so on and so forth. But if Bellator is to get sold and they don't stick around, obviously you have Brian Butler to help you make those decisions. But where would you see yourself going? Is PFL like an option for you? Would you want to push for the UFC? Or does it not matter to you? Where do you see yourself if that does happen?
I mean, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like it's kind of hard. I mean, as far as I know, I mean, I would love to fight in the UFC. Who wouldn't? But I would also love PFL. I know that their like flyweight division is pretty new. And I would love to be a part of that, get an opportunity to fight in their tournament or something like that. But I really don't care where I'm at as long as I'm fighting and I'm getting a chance to like prove myself and fight against the best people because that's what I want to like do is like I want to be the best and I want to prove to other people that's like what I am and like that's what I can do. So I'm open, I guess, like, but I mean, it sucks because Bellator has been I've only been with them like for 2 fights now. I just signed with them like a year ago, and then everything's been up in the air basically since I signed. And I'm like, man, like I enjoy the company. They're a great promotion. So hopefully it all gets sorted out soon because it is kind of tough just being like in limbo. And I know that for fighters, that's the case, but all the employees there too, because I know talked to several people and like nobody knows what's gonna happen. So, but
Yeah,
I'm cool with going wherever I can fight.
you just know you want to keep doing it no matter what.
Yes, yes. I want to stay busy. Like I don't like waiting.
So there's something cool in San Diego that I've known about for a while. I know a lot of female fighters are starting to get to know about it. They have training partners that are coming up, starting to learn about it. But there's a new promotion by Libby Canella that's started up called Valkyrie. What can you say about that promotion and how cool it is, how they're empowering, women fighters?
I think it's awesome for you know, for an organization to like put on all female shows, because I know that there've been other promotions that come through, and they've like not really focused on even getting female fights on the cards, but not to like, not throwing any shade, it's just that like they've said it's harder to match women up in a lot of cases, and probably true since there's fewer of us out there, but the only way to get more women is to have promotions like Valkyrie that just are like really putting it out there and promoting it, so that women, like amateurs especially, like have a place to go, and you know that you're going to get like a well run like fight card that's like legitimate, that's going to like give you experience that you need and put you on a path like to get into that pro big leagues.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this as well. You're like the new face of a brand called Hyperfly.
Yes. Oh my
And
God, I think.
nice. My buddy JD actually told me about Hyperfly. He's, a big media out there in San Diego, and Jimmy runs all their content.
Mhm.
It's pretty big out there. Can you tell me a little bit more about that brand and what it means to you to be a part of it?
I mean, I love Hyperfly. Like they've been around in jiu-jitsu for a while now. I think 15. Yeah, was it? Okay, I can't remember but our I think they said their 10-year anniversary. But the cool thing about them is that when my very first world championship in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I won wearing a Hyperfly gi. I wasn't sponsored by them at the time, but my gi didn't pass they like do the inspection. There was like some stitching on it. So I was like, I don't have another gi that will work. And one of my friends had bought one from the stand at Hyperfly that day, and she's like, "Here, just wear mine." It's like her brand new gi. She hadn't even put it on. She let me wear it, and I won a world champion, like my very first world title in that gi, and like it was a really like special moment for me. And so then like just flash forward, like that was like 2013, and like now like I've been with them for like 2 years. I just resigned for another year with them, and they weren't really like focusing that much on like MMA as much. Though it's a jiu-jitsu brand, but they're female owned. They really do like want to make stuff for women that like we want to wear, that fits us the way that we like. They listen to how women's bodies are different than men, so it's like just throwing the same cut of a rash guard out there for men is not going to fit us the same way. So they like make really good stuff, and it's just like a dope brand. They're like always innovating. They're like on the latest with like trends and fashion. So which I love. So it's like it's cool. I love everyone there. Like the people are amazing. The owners, like everyone that works there is so dope.
Nice. I'll put them on my Instagram. I'll share some of their stuff on there and help promote it. I got a few fun ones for you, and then we'll let you get out of here. I know your time is valuable, but we'll start off with this. Favorite post-fight meal?
Um, Pizza. It seems to be the only option. Like when you know how it's like you're dying to get food, and then you're like all hyped up because I'm so excited, and it's like I want to like just like enjoy my time. You're like with my friends, and then most of the time fights get over. It's super late. It's hard to find anywhere to go. So I always wind up getting pizza, and it's always delicious. Even if it's bad pizza, it's good.
Favorite submission?
I would say arm bars are my favorite.
Can Tyler Bishop submit Jena Bishop in a jiu-jitsu match?
No way.
If you guys did have a jiu-jitsu match, how would you finish Tyler?
Any way I want.
Damn, Tyler. uh, why did Cade Morehouse ask you how you're enjoying San Diego, even though he knew you were living there?
We'll say it's a mental error.
Favorite movie
I don't know. I don't
or
really have
show
a favorite, huh?
or show?
What's my favorite show? Dang, I have so many. I love anything. I love comedies. So I would like I'm like drawing a blank on all the stuff that I like, but pretty much all the Apple TV shows out there, especially the comedies, like are super good.
Favorite place to take your dogs?
I love taking them to the beach.
Like, is there like dog beaches out
There's
there?
Dog Beach, yeah. So like there's one really close to us, the Dog Beach in Del Mar. That's like a good spot. Cash loves, well, Toast, my older one, she doesn't like to be outside, but Cash loves to be outside and he loves to dig in the sand. So I like being at the beach and I like taking them too.
Who's your most competitive training partner where you guys always try to one up each other?
Ooh, I feel like that's so different now because of MMA. It's like so sporadic over the years. I'll say this, okay, throw it back. This is gonna go to my friend from St. Louis that was my best training partner for most of my career, Joey Walters. I used to say he's the best because we were both like around the same rank for a lot of times. But I used to say he was the best female brown belt in the world because when he was training with me. But he's like was close to my size and we would always just like go to war when we would train together.
I gotta
Now
ask,
I say Angie though.
I was gonna ask you about that. I forgot earlier on in the interview. Before I let you go, how long were you in Missouri, and are you from, like, originally from there? Because
Yeah.
I ask you that because my mom lives out there, and after high school I had moved there towards St. Louis. She lives in a little town called Defiance.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in St. Charles,
Oh,
Missouri.
St. Charles, nice. Yeah. So I had my own apartment out there. And then my first year I was out there, I got into a crash in the snow, and I said, "That's it, Mom. I'm packing my bags. I'm coming back to the West Coast."
I mean, I don't know why you would move there after being on the West Coast. Like, I'm like, if everybody asks me all the time, like, are you gonna come back to St. Louis ever? And I'm like, I live in San Diego, and yes, it's the most expensive place in the world, but like also are in the US right now. But I'm like, it's so worth it. Like, I just love it here, like so much. And not throwing shade at like at St. Louis, like I'm really happy that I grew up in the Midwest because there's just something to be said about Midwest people, values. It's just like taught me a lot, and I think it made me who I am today. But I don't like being cold. So it's like either really hot or really cold. There's no in between.
I feel that 100%. Jenna, you are a huge up and comer from San Diego. People deserve to know who you are. The last 30 seconds are yours. Shout anybody out. Tell the people where they can find you, and wrap it up.
You can find me on Instagram mostly Jena Bishop BJJ, Jenna with one N. That's a common mistake. And I'm always training. Thanks so much. Like I have to always like you already helped me out with Hyperfly. They're like a fantastic company. Check them out. Use my code JennaFly if you want to save some money. And thanks to my coaches, AJ Matthews. He is former Bellator fighter as well. Super dope coach, getting my striking to where it needs to be. And my team at Alliance San Diego in Miramar, I teach women's classes there and kids classes. We have an awesome program. So if you're in San Diego, come check us out. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, 6-0, undefeated, 3 finishes, coming off a first round finish. Check her out, Jena Bishop.